Hi, everyone. How are you? Thanks for joining. Happy to have you here today. I see we have a few of you in the chat. We'll say hello. We'll start saying hello in a bit. I'm pretty sure you can hear me well. I did do a couple of sound checks before we got started, and everything seemed to be working good on this end, and the audio meter on my multi-view looks like it's working fine. Let's go over to the chat and say hello to a few folks. And I'm confident that if you can't hear me, you guys will let me know. So, all right, let's get started with the chat. There we go. Hey, Jeremy, Jeremy says, looking forward to the studio changes. I read that earlier during the pre-roll, and I hope I didn't mean to be deceiving. I should have put upcoming studio changes, not actually studio changes that are done. So I wanted to just talk about a couple of things that would be upcoming. But very glad to have you here, Jeremy. Thanks for joining. And I do apologize. I missed your stream this morning. I was hoping to catch it, but things just didn't allow. So I'll catch it on the replay. DJ Ware, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Hey, Freddie, how are you? It's good to have you here, Freddie. Thank you. Jeremy's from Michigan. And Freddie says, loves the music. I appreciate that. Jeremy Davila, am I saying that correctly, Jeremy? Joining from New York. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Terrell, thank you for being here. Hello. Hey, Michael, how are you? Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Freddie. Freddie says audio and visual is doing okay. Michael says it sounds good. Okay, we got 8 of you here. We got 6 likes. Hopefully a few more people will join the stream. I know now with football season, Sunday afternoons and evenings are tough, but it was a time that worked for me. So in any event, again, glad to all have you here. We're finally catching some nice weather here in the southeastern part of North Carolina. Finally, the humidity is easing a little bit. It's been in the mid-80s the last couple of days. Nights are dropping down to the mid-60s, so it's actually becoming very pleasurable to be outside. And even one night we even slept with the windows open. So, yeah. Let's see. We got Andrew Harrison. Andrew from Australia. Hello. Thank you for joining, Andrew. So happy to have you here. Let's get that up on the screen. There we go. Welcome, Andrew. So today I have kind of a packed lineup, and I'm not really quite sure the order I'm going to go in. I do want to share with you a couple of news announcements from a couple of vendors that I deal with, Ubiquiti, GrandStream, Synology. But primarily, I want to attempt to do a DSM bare metal restore live on the stream, and that's going to be the primary part of the stream. Now, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we'll get into that. I'll get into that in a little bit. Let me just keep saying hello to a few more people. Welcome, MX Droid. Evening from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, so got 8 people, 8 likes. I do appreciate that very much. And we do have subscriber only mode on. So for the first 5 minutes, if you aren't a subscriber of the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And after 5 minutes, you'll be able to join in the conversation with everyone else. Again, thank you all for being here. And let's talk a little bit about Synology and what's going on. So let me give you a little backstory, a little history before we get into the actual bare metal, DSM bare metal restore. And I'll give you an idea of what's leading up to it. So a couple of months ago, actually, beginning of the summer, I did a stream on Synology support, and I talked primarily about how Synology support was so great in helping me solve a problem. Now, I don't want to get too heavily into that, but it was all about when they had first released DSM 7.1.1, there was a new feature introduced where you can do a DSM bare metal backup and restore using active backup for business. Now, active backup for business has been around for a while, and people have been backing up PCs and servers and virtual machines, but they introduced this new feature of backing up an entire NAS and being able to do a bare metal restore. So I got really excited about that. And of course, I jumped on it. Now, it was in beta, and I did the backup, and the backup was successful. But when I went to do the restore, long story short, the restore failed, right? So contacted Synology support. We worked through it. There were a couple of issues. It was pretty much something on the developer end with the volume, wrong formatting of the volume on the restore. But that's when it would fail, when it was attempting to do the actual restore from the backup NAS. So long story short, there's a viewer out there that's been tuned into this with me from the get-go, Grandma Betty. Now, Grandma Betty's not going to be here live, but they let me know that they will watch the replay. They've been keeping me up to date. I guess they have an interest in this DSM bare metal backup and restore process as well. And every time Synology came out with an update to the active backup, the DSM active backup for business agent, even though it was in beta, the Grandma Betty let me know about it. So one time I actually even reached out to Synology support, referenced the original ticket, and asked them if the newest update, in beta fixed or addressed the problem. And they said no, but the developer said that they will get to that. So, okay, fast forward to today, and Grandma Betty contacted me about 2 or 3 days ago again and said, hey, Tony, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Synology's latest DSM 7.1.1 release also includes a DSM active backup for business agent that's not in beta. So it's out of beta. So I said, oh, okay, very good to know. I'll reach out to them again, and, we'll try we'll see if it, now that it's out of beta, if the issues have been resolved and if we are able to do the actual restore of an entire Synology NAS. Well, with that, I got to thinking about it, and I was like, the heck with it. You know what? By the time they respond to me, I could find out for myself if I just actually blow the Synology NAS away online. I have to do it anyway, right? I was going to test it out offline, so I'm just going to do it live and hope for the best and see what happens. I know sometimes that's not a good idea, but hey, you know what? We're all in this together, and it's all about learning together. So I'm hoping that the fact that the active backup for business agent for DSM, that it's no longer in beta, I'm hoping that the restore will work, but we'll find out. It could fail at the same point. And if it does, that's okay. I'm using a lab NAS anyway, so if the worst case scenario, if it comes down to it, I would just basically, redo the NAS from scratch if it fails. It's not a big deal. So anyway, so that's kind of the crux of what today's live stream is going to be. And in between that, we'll talk about different things like new products from the different vendors and upcoming changes that I want to make to the studio. So let's see, we're good over here in the comments. Again, we have 9 of you here and 8 likes, so thank you very much. Let me bring up a browser and then I'll switch screens. All right, so let me flip over to here. Now you should be able to see my screen, and I'm just going to go up into the DS920, and let me get you signed in. Okay, so what I'm talking about is with the release of 7.1.1-4 version 42962, with this release, the DSM agent, which was in beta all along up until now, is now not in beta anymore. You can see it's version 2.4.2-12420, and the newest beta version that's online is this one here. So to set the stages for this, what I did was I updated the DS920 which is running the DSM Active Backup for Business Agent. And I also updated the 1621, which is, let me get you signed in. And I also updated the DS20 1621 Plus, also the version 42962, just as a best practice. So if I go into the package center here and I go into the installed packages and I go down to, where's my Active Backup for Business, and I open it, you could see here, hopefully, that I have one Synology NAS, and that's the DS920. That's the task. The DS920 is backing up to the 1621 Plus. Now, right now, it's on the same network. And you can see the last successful backup was on September 17th, pretty much around 1 o'clock in the morning, and there's 10 versions. So what we're going to attempt to do now is blow away the DS920. And when I say blow away, what I'm talking about is, let me just switch back for a second. What I'm talking about is I'm just going to set it back to factory factory defaults. In other words, I'm going to simulate, let's say your NAS crashed and completely failed. I'm going to simulate it going out and buying a new NAS, taking it out of the box, and then being able to do the bare metal restore. That's the idea here. Now, there are a couple of criteria with it. So if you have to do that, let me just jump back over to here to the DS920. And if we go into back into the package center and we go into the agent, let me just, what did I want to show you? What I wanted to show you was the criteria. So basically you have to, for this to work, well, when it's working properly, we don't even know if this is going to work, but the criteria that Synology puts forth is basically it has to be a subsequent NAS. It can't be an earlier NAS. You can't go out and say I have the DS920 and it's backing up Active Backup for Business over to the 1621 Plus. I can't go out and buy an older, 216 or 214 or an older model and attempt to restore. It's got to be a subsequent NAS, and it also has to be the same amount of drives or larger. You can't go to a smaller NAS as far as drives as well. So those are a couple of prerequisites to keep in place. So before we start that, let me just see if anybody else has joined, because the stats are showing me now that there's 13 of you here and several more likes, which I do appreciate. So let's see. Hey, Joe, welcome. Tech for Fun, thank you for being here. I didn't think you were going to show up today. Today is a special day for you. Not sure if I'm allowed to mention it or not, but thank you for being here. Alonzo, thank you for joining. I appreciate that. I hope you check out that vertical cable punch down tool. I think you'll really like it. Volume Joe says volume is a little bit low today. Anyone else? Volume is okay here for me. DJ Ware saying hi to Joe. Freddie's saying hello. Joe saying possibly because he's on his phone. And then you guys are just talking amongst yourself. And Joe is saying to DJ Ware, I think this is, just watched your video on Talos Linux and made a bootable USB stick to try it out. Very cool. I'll have to check that out. Love the shirt. Thank you, Joe. Tony, you probably already said this, but what is the bare metal thing? Okay, let's just see. We didn't miss anybody. All right, so bare metal backup, Joe. We're going to hopefully take a whole Synology NAS that's been backed up to a remote NAS, in this case on the same network, just to a backup NAS. And the idea behind the bare metal backup is if I think I said this a few minutes ago, I don't know if you tuned in at that point, if your NAS should fail, like completely fry or whatever, and you had to run out and get another one, you can literally, the concept is you literally take it out of the box, set it up on the network, and then through a process which I'm going to take you through, you should be able to restore from the backup NAS or the remote NAS and bring that NAS back up to its last state of the last backup, like doing a bare metal restore on a PC or on a server. So with 7.1.1, Synology is claiming that it's possible to do on an entire NAS. So that's what it is. And then let me just say hello to Brian and say thank you for being here, Brian. Appreciate it. Good morning to you and welcome. All right. So let me switch over. Let me get back to the NAS. And again, guys, if this fails, I don't care. This is not a super high pressure situation. This is just a lab DS920. There's really nothing on it. All I use it for really is I have a Docker container that runs an Nginx RTMP server, which again, even if the restore fails, I could just, do the NAS from scratch. Not a big deal. Okay, so that said, let's go into the control panel. Let's blow this thing away. We'll go to update and restore. We're going to go to system reset and we're going to say erase all data. And then, yes, I understand all my data will be deleted forever. And we're going to say yes to that. And then it gives you a countdown in case you change your mind, and then erase all data. It wants the password. And we'll submit. Okay, NAS is restarting, and this takes a while. All right, so then after that comes back online, we should be able to find it online using find.synology.com. I just happen to know the IP address because I have an IP reservation for this device set up in my router. So anyway, while that's working, while that's reformatting, let's go back up to this page that I have up here. So one of the new announcements that one of the vendors came out with, Ubiquiti, back in the beginning of the month, came out with something called UI Care. And what is UI Care? UI Care basically extends your warranty on your device for up to 5 years. Now, it's only available for the Dream Machine Pro and the Dream Machine SE. Whether or not Ubiquiti makes it available on other devices remains to be seen. The price is pretty reasonable for the Dream Machine Pro. If we say no additional storage, you can see here that UI Care for 5 years is $75. If we look at the Dream Machine SE, UI Care for 5 years is $99. So it's a little bit more expensive for the SE, but basically, what is it? So let's take a look. And let me make this a little smaller so it fits the screen. There we go. All right, so what it is they're claiming you're going to receive priority RMA service, replace your new replacement as soon as the next business day. We'll talk about that in a minute when we look a little bit at the terms. Free return shipping and unlimited replacements. We guarantee a quality product that meets your needs no matter what. And again, we'll talk about that when we look at the terms and agreement. So the comparison of the submission process under the normal RMA process, you go to the portal, you make a request for a replacement. You first have to return the original device and you cover the shipping cost. Once the device is inspected by Ubiquiti, then they will send out your replacement. If you sign up for the UI Care, you go to the portal, they say they send it out as soon as the next day, and that's the key, as soon as, and then return the original device for free because they will pay the shipping to send your device back. So now it's all good. I mean, it sounds like a nice way to break into the market with it. But if you take a look at the terms and conditions, and I'm not going to read this to you word for word. There's just a couple of things I do want to point out. If you are considering the actual UI Care for the Dream Machine Pro or the Dream Machine, SE. The first thing is, if you look here, it says be a legal resident of the 50 United States or a legally registered business in any of the 50 states or the District of Columbia. And then obviously you have to be 18 years of age at the time of enrollment. As far as product stock is specifically reserved for members of this membership plan. Obviously, like I said before, you do not have to return the broken product first. But then there was one here. Oh, this one right here. Replacement products here under may be refurbished or new at the company's sole discretion. So, I mean, I get that. I totally understand that. However, if I just recently bought, let's say, a Dream Machine Pro or a Dream Machine SE, and it died after a week, or it was DOA, right? I don't want a refurbished unit if my brand new unit is that new and it had an incident, right? So, I mean, I understand Synology's point. Products do arrive DOA, and maybe in that situation, they would just ship you another new one on a DOA. I'm not sure, but even after a week old, if for some reason the device failed, bought a brand new unit, I would like to get a brand new unit after only a week. So anyway, so that's one of the things I wanted to point out. And then let's see, there was one or two more. Here it says the company will provide the replacement as soon as reasonably practicable, which the company expects to be within 30 days. Here they're saying within 30 days, but on the marketing, on the webpage, they're showing you, as soon as the next day. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying read the terms and conditions. And here they're saying replacement of your covered product may only be shipped to a United States address. And then this one right here, if you don't return the original product within 90 days, if you can request an extension of the return deadline, but if you fail to do so, the membership plan will be canceled. So in any event, I just wanted to share this with you. I think it's pretty cool that that Ubiquiti is offering this. But again, if you're considering it, a UDM Pro or a UDM SE, and you're considering opting for UI Care, just make sure you fully understand. I guess that's the whole point here, is make sure you fully understand the terms and conditions. All right, let me check on the DS920. Let's see what's happening. Okay, let's see. Let's go here, switch over, and let's see what we got. Okay, so we're at the screen now where it says set up your Synology DS920, and that's basically like the way it is when it first comes out of the box. Under device info, it's just showing you here information about the device, the model, the DSM version, all this other stuff, and that the status is not installed. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on install. And then I am going to, for purposes of this video, just to save a little time, I've already got the PAT file downloaded, but you just simply go to Synology.com to the support page and download the DSM version for your model. So we're going to browse for it, and it's in my downloads. And of course, here it's out of order, but let me find it. DSM. And this was the one I downloaded today. Yep. Okay, so open. We're going to say next. Yes, all data will be deleted. I understand. Continue. And while this is doing its thing, let me switch back and explain what the next step is. All right, so while that's installing, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you have to get an operating system on the device. The next part, when it comes back up, typically you would go through creating the admin account and the rest of the setup. We're not going to do that. That's where we're going to link to the backup device and start the repair process. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed at that point that the actual repair does work. So while that's going on, let me see what's going on in the comments, if anything else. Let's see. Anybody else join us here? Yep. We have Avi from Tech Me Out. Hey, Avi, thanks for joining. Howdy. Appreciate you being here. Guys, if you aren't familiar with Avi's channel, check him out. In fact, all of the creators that are here, I will put links to everybody, all the creators that are here at the end of the video in the chat. But go ahead and check out Tech Me Out and DJ Ware, Jeremy Like, all great YouTubers, great content. I enjoy all of their channels, and I know we all support each other. So again, thank you for being here, Avi. And I don't know when you joined, but I'm attempting to do a DSM bare metal restore of my DS920. I'm hoping that hi, Joe. I'm hoping that the restore is successful now that the DSM agent is out of beta. So keeping our fingers crossed. And I know Grandma Betty, who has been keeping me abreast of this whole thing, is also very interested in this as well. So that's what's going on. In the meantime, it's possible, Avi. It's possible. And I know you're only kidding. Hey, look, I'm doing it live, right? So you got to expect things to potentially go wrong. But I'll be quite honest with you. I don't have good feelings about it. I'd be very much surprised as I begin the restore process, and I'm going to bring you guys along for that. I'd be very surprised if the actual restore process is successful. I'm hoping it is, but I'm kind of expecting it to fail. I'm not expecting it to work, but I'd be happy if it does. Yay. All right, so in any event, while that's happening, let me go back and check the status and see if I can go on to something else. Okay, it's still doing its install. So let's talk about, let me just bring up, I'll switch you back. I want to bring you over to Grandstream's website. Grandstream came out with some decent new products within the last week or so. They came out with 2 new Wi-Fi routers and a new, and one of the Wi-Fi routers reminds me very much of the original Dream Machine. Not the actual shape, but the format concept, which you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. And they also came out with a new in-wall access point. So again, sounds like a familiar device that we all, from another company that we all know and love, right? So let's go over to the Grandstream website, and we'll come first to the routers. And you can see here, make this a little bit bigger for you guys. They came out with this guy right here, the GWN 7062 and the GWN 7052. So let's take a look at this guy real quick. So it says here the GWN 7062 is a secure dual band router powered by the latest Wi-Fi 6 802.11ax technology, ideal for small offices, home offices, etc. If we look down at some of the features, powered by Wi-Fi 6, up to 1.77 gigabits per second wireless throughput, dual band 2x2 multi-user MIMO, built-in VPN support. They claim up to 256 concurrent Wi-Fi client devices, supports mesh networking with Grandstream access points, provides security features including guest network, network blacklist, anti-hacking, a whole bunch of things. Rich firewall features including anti-denial of service, traffic rules, NAT, and L.L.C. Secure cloud provisioning is coming. So if you just take a look at the form factor of this, it looks very familiar to me. On the back side, it's got 4 1 gig LAN ports and a 1 gig WAN port. Now, this port number 4 here actually says it's LAN 4/WAN, so it looks like it can be configurable as another WAN port. So I'm assuming, again, I don't know much about this. I'm only going off of what I see here. I wish I had one of these. I actually did reach out to my contact over at Grandstream and ask them to send me one of these for review. Now, whether they do or not, I don't know, but seems like it would support dual WAN since it does have the dedicated WAN and the actual configurable WAN. So we'll see. If you want, you could go to Grandstream's website and take a look here at the actual data sheet. Not going to take you through all that, all the individual specs, but again, just here, Wi-Fi 6, 2x2 multi-user, VPN support, 256. So check it out because Grandstream makes some really good products. I've been really super happy with their, Wi-Fi access points that I've been using so far, and that I have out a couple in production as well. I've actually starting to move to them, depending on the job and the situation. Then we have the more traditional looking Wi-Fi router with 4 antennas, the GWN 7052. There's actually 2 versions. There's a 7052 and a 7052F. They are basically the same box. The 72F does have a couple of added features that the 7052 does not have. Apologize if I was saying 7250. It's 7052. Let's look at the description. Again, dual band router powered by 802.11ac Wi-Fi technology. 1.27 gigabits per second aggregate wireless through 5 auto sensing gigabit ports, dual band 2x2 multi-user MIMO, built-in support for VPN, supports 100 concurrent Wi-Fi clients, supports the mesh networking, and a lot of the other security features that we talked about earlier. Let's look at the data sheet on this one briefly because that's where we could see some of the differences. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. Okay. So the GWN 7052 has 128 mega RAM, 30,000 NAT sessions, whereas the F model, the 7052F, has 256 mega RAM, 60,000 NAT sessions. If we scroll down the network interfaces, we have 1 gigabit Ethernet WAN port on the regular model and 4 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports. The 7052F has 1 gigabit SFP WAN port, 1 gigabit Ethernet port, WAN LAN configurable, and 3 gigabit LAN ports. So there's another difference. And then for network management, like most of the Grandstream access points, it does have an embedded controller. The GWN 7052 can manage itself and up to 30 access points, whereas the GWN 7052F can manage up to 50 access points. And I did fail to mention, but on the, if I go back to, I'm not going to go into the specs, but the actual GWN 7062 also has the embedded controller and supports up to 50 Grandstream access points. Right, so let's see. Let's switch over and let me take a look and see what's going on here. We're still going through the restart process. So let's take a look at the comments and see if there's anybody else that's joined or anybody else that has anything to say. Let's see. Tech for fun, tech for fun, tech for fun. Okay, let's go through some of Joe's comments here. All right. So Joe says, I'm planning to bring my Synology home from the studio and back up my Unraid to it. Well, that sounds like a good plan, Joe. This way you have, will they both be on site or will there be one off site? Where is Unraid? Is it at the studio or is it at home? Let's see. Also, I'm getting 2 gigabit internet symmetrical on Tuesday. Now I need to upgrade some stuff to 10 gig. Awesome. I'm assuming this is at home because you already have the 1 gig at home, correct? Or is this at the studio? lots of fiber ISPs are moving to multi-gig. Yes. In fact, I've been thinking about that too myself. Right now, the fiber ISP that I have in my area, I have 1 gig symmetrical. They don't offer multi-gig, but I thought to myself at that point, what would I do? Because I have an Edge Router 6P, and I actually absolutely love that router. However, if I wanted to get multi-gig, then I would have to change, and what would I go to? And I've been tossing between getting the pfSense box or the UDM Pro. I am not sure. But let me know what you guys are doing, or what you're considering if and when multi-gig becomes available to you. I know I'm going to probably get a lot of votes for pfSense, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. There you go, Joe. I just gave you my thoughts on that without reading your question. Also, do you want to use, okay. Oh, I get it. So each other's houses or out of state. Got it. Yeah, we can do that. Avi says not a fan of GrandStream. Interesting. I'd like to know more, Avi. Maybe you and I could have an offline conversation. I've found their products to be outstanding. Alonzo says, I wish the ISP consortium in South Carolina offered 2 gig. Yeah, we're like I said, Alonzo, we're here. We're still at 1 gig, and we're not, Alonzo. We're not very far from each other, I don't think. We're probably talking under 2 hours. We should probably meet up and have lunch one day. I've been thinking about that quite a bit, so it would be kind of cool, I think. And then Joe's asking Ave if he's referring to the GrandStream phone line, or their networking, or both. And Joe's asking if we did the offsite backup, how would that work? I would imagine, Joe, we would be setting up VPN between the 2 locations, and separate VLANs, put the devices on like a dedicated VLAN for those purposes. We'll figure that one out. And Avi's saying networking. Joe's saying also another project I did just is create an SSID on a VLAN that connects to OpenVPN always on. Oh, very cool. I would like to hear more about that. I would actually like to have a personal demonstration of that, Joseph. 2 gig is at home. Alonzo says my primary storage is an AS7004T backup to TrueNAS on an HP Z800 workstation. Very cool. Very cool. And Joe says, does the UDM Pro work with OpenVPN? I'm not sure. I know you probably can get a definite answer from Cody at Mac Telecom. Ave, you might even know, because you do a lot more work, Ave, with the UDM Pros than I do. I only have a handful out in production. I never bought in to the UDM Pros initially when Ubiquiti first released them. So, like I said, I do like the Edge Router line. I've been sticking with that. So yeah. And Ave says, let's see here, does UDM Pro work with, and to answer your question, Joe, Ave says it's coming. So I guess not yet. Siri is driving me crazy today. I have my iPad here, and I'm using Mix Effect, so it has to be dedicated in the foreground, but it's listening, and every time I think it yeah, I know. Every time she thinks she hears a trigger, she comes on. So I have to come up with a better solution. Anyway, so thank you, Avi, for answering that. So it is coming. So there you go, Joe. Okay, that Synology should be close to being ready. Let's see. Let's see. All right. And Okay, so you can see my screen now. So this is the DS920 with a fresh DSM 7.1. And now typically, if you were just setting up a brand new NAS, you would continue with the start button and go through all of the admin account, Quick Connect, if you so choose, all that. But we're not going to do that. We're going to come down here to where it says already have a backup, restore your device. And we're going to put in the server address. So the address of the 1621 plus is that. We're going to say connect. That's fine. It wants me to log in. Let me touch my YubiKey. Come on, let's go. Please sign in. Oh, okay, I see what happened. It pulled it up by the IP address. All right, let me enter the actual password. Okay. And that's fine. We're going to proceed anyway. Are you sure you want to connect via 192.1? Yep. And we'll go ahead and we'll trust the certificate when we get prompted. Okay. Select the device and backup task. So we see here we have the device name is the DS920 Lab. We're going to go to the next screen and we're going to choose the backup. I'm just going to choose the most recent backup, which was 9:17 at 1 in the morning. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, let's see, did I select that? Why is it not letting me go forward? Choose the backup you want to restore. Aha, so we're running into another snag already. Let's see. I don't care about that. We have the IP reservation. So let's look, let's try this again. Let's go back. DS920 Lab. It's the only task we have. Backup type, entire backup. That's correct. Choose the backup version that you want to restore. We don't, that really doesn't matter. Oh, that's interesting. Let's try reloading and see what happens. See what happens when you do things live? We'll try this again. Internet error. Please check your internet connection. Did I lose internet? Ooh. Let me go back to the comments for a second. Mix effect for the win. Are you guys there? Can you hear me? Let me do a quick ping out to the internet on my phone. Hold on. I apologize if you're there with me. Let's just do a quick ping. Let's see. All right. Yeah, no, we have internet. So that means my stream is live. All right. Stream looks live. I'm looking at the YouTube studio. Let's try this again. Did I type something in wrong? 192.168.25.225. That's it. Okay. Let's do this again. Yeah. We'll sign in with the password. Okay. Yeah. We'll proceed anyway. Yep. Trust this. The agent will be disconnected from the server. Yep. Okay. So it looks like we're connected again. Next. Let's see if I pick an older. I don't want to go that old. No, it's not. Okay. Well, not becoming available to me with whether I toggle the restore all network related settings or not. So that's disheartening. All right. I'm going to have to figure that one out. All right. So that was a major flop. We didn't even get as far as we did the last time around. I don't get it. So anyway, let's bring up the comments and see what you guys are all saying. Okay. Yep, I have internet because you guys are seeing me. Yep, I realize that. Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you. Freddie Ponce loud and clear. Looks like I jinxed you. No, I wouldn't say that. I just like I didn't expect it to be successful, but I didn't expect it to be successful, but I expected it to get further than it did the last time. So last time when I did this, when it was in beta, it allowed me to pick the backup task and the date of the backup that I wanted to. And it began the actual preparation of the restore. It went through a couple other minor steps. And then when it got to the creating the volume, that's where it failed. Here, it's not even getting that far. It's not even letting me select the restore. So, hey, I do apologize that it didn't work. I was kind of hoping it would work to show you that. But in any event, I kind of went into it kind of having mixed feelings. So in any event, that's that. Let's see what we got going on here. DJ Ware says, LOL, not a bug. It's a new feature request. Yeah, I'm going to have to open up another ticket with them. Alonzo says, thanks for sharing. Have a good one. Alonzo, thanks. You too. Thanks for coming, sticking around. And hey, we'll talk soon. Update on the Avi saying he would like, where we go? Update on the bank job. Okay, I can give you that in a little bit. Does the backup use incremental from the first one? Yes, I do believe it does. It's very not the Synology way to release a non-functional feature. Yeah, I mean, and it's not rocket science. Like we talked about when we were trying to figure out that other thing, Avi, it's not rocket science. So unless you saw something I was doing wrong, let me know. And that's a great question coming up. MX Droid. No, it was not a beta backup. It was definitely what I did to prepare for this without actually testing the actual process was I updated both NAS devices to the latest version. I manually installed the DSM Active Backup for Business DSM agent on the DS920. And then I ran multiple, like I did this at the beginning of the week. So all those backups that were 917, 915, those were all backups, not beta backups. So, but that's a great question. Michael Berg says, thanks, Tony. Have to run. Michael, thank you as always for being here. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, day, evening, whatever it is. So, yeah. Bummer, guys. I wish that would have worked. I wish I could have shown you that complete process, not just partial. But I'm going to have to dig in again, I guess, offline and try it again and see what happens. And if I reach out to Synology support, I'll keep everybody up to date. All right. So we talked about Ubiquity's latest products. I did want to mention, I'm just going to mention it briefly. I'm not going to, it's still in early access. I'm not going to show it. I know a couple other YouTubers, including Ubiquity themselves, did videos on it, but Ubiquiti also came out with the Spectrum Analyzer, little hardware device for $99 to accompany the Wi-Fi Man app. Supposedly it brings a lot of the features to the iPhone version of Wi-Fi Man that are, it's a very limited version on the iPhone. The Android version has so many more features and options. So in any event, that also did come out, and it's $99. And I was thinking of actually picking one up, but of course, it's sold out. So let's go back to the comments. All right. Avi is asking, how did we drill through the exterior wall of the bank? We got very lucky. It was brick. It wasn't, and it was up high. It wasn't down near the foundation, so it wasn't very thick, if anything, and we went through with a rotary hammer. What was the one thing you would have done differently? Actually, this was a question that came up in the last live stream when I did the actual follow-up on that job. I think I probably would have, let's see, one of the things that not bothering me, but that I said I wish I would have done differently was there was an existing patch panel there that we had to relocate, and we didn't have enough length and slack. And I ended up cutting the wall up and then putting a reinforcement piece of plywood over to re-support everything so that I can get the extra length pulled through. But I think I probably, the other option was take all the cables out of that patch panel. So I didn't want to re-punch them down. I wanted to leave them in that patch panel because I had tested all the wires and they were original, and they worked. They all tested. So I didn't want to then rip all the wires out of the patch panel and redo it. So, but if I had done that, then I would have pulled, if I took them out of the back of that patch panel, then I would have pulled them up. I would have gone into the ceiling and pulled them all up and out from behind the wall and brought them down in the braid from the new wire, and included them in the braid with the new wires that we ran. I guess that's what we would have done. Brian is asking, Joe, have you changed your channel name? Joe, I'll let you address that. Tech for Fun, what apps do you use at home? What APs do you use at home? I have 2 GrandStream GWN 7630s and one 7615. They are all Wi-Fi 5 at this point in time. Avi, thank you for being here. I appreciate you stopping in. We'll talk soon. Brian says, I'm departing from the USG Pro 4. Anyone have a suggestion on what I should migrate to? I guess, Brian, the question comes to mind is, do you want to stay in the Ubiquiti family? Once tellers come in, I guess the bank, do I have to go back to config? When the tellers get there, I just have to go back and terminate the 8 cables. There's going to be 2 teller stations out in the center of the floor where we have 4 and 4. So I just got to terminate those cables. As far as the actual equipment configuration, no, we weren't hired to do that. The bank vice president of IT is taking care of all of that himself. So I just got to go in, make sure the terminations work, and that's it. Someday you should play the drums in a post show. Maybe, never know. And Joe from Tech for Fun says, deleted my channel. This channel is just for chatting. Okay. All right. So we got 14 people here, 14 likes. So that's pretty good. I guess the next topic for discussion. Oh, I'm so bummed. I really am bummed on that bare metal restore. I know Grandma Betty's not going to be happy either. And I don't know if Grandma Betty's really a grandma or not. Because Grandma Betty seems to be pretty tech savvy in some of the conversations we have in the comments on some of the videos. So Yeah. And Brian and Joe's saying to Brian he loves the Netgate 6100 PF Sense, and that's the model, Joe. That's the one. I couldn't remember what model you had, but when we were talking about the multi-gig before, whether I'm going to go whenever I get the option for multi-gig here, if I'm going to go to a Unify, Dream Machine Pro, or SE, or make the jump to bite the bullet and make the jump to the PF Sense box. So, all right, let me put the comments away for now and talk about some of the upcoming changes to the studio. Joe, real quick question. I don't think so. No. Grandma Betty lives in Europe. Brian says he's been contemplating PF Sense. I'd be curious to hear what you decide on, Brian. I haven't done much with PF Sense, but I have done some stuff with Open Sense, and in my head, the way my head works, there's definitely an alignment between the two. It's just, to me, it's just basically a user interface format difference. A lot of the same ways of doing things. So, any of it. Yeah. All right, Joe, can I mention some of the things that I have? Because some of the upcoming studio changes are based upon some of the things that I have here. You let me know. And with that, I am going to switch over, I think, to my lapel microphone. Let's see. Check, 1, 2. Okay. I think you guys should be able to hear me. Yes, sir. Mention away. Thank you, buddy. All right. So let me get the comments put away for now. About 2 months ago, I built this rack on my desk right to my left. And I think I talked about it in the live stream. I don't think I did a video on it, but I have, real quick, what I have up top is a Hyperdeck Mini with the original. Then I have 2 SRT converter boxes, the Unify Switch 150 watt PoE. Then I have 2 patch panels, and then I have an audio signal processor, and then down below I have the ATEM Mini Extreme. It's not the ISO version, just the Extreme. And I built this about, like I said, 2 months ago. And the reasoning was because I just have more inputs, more sources than I have inputs on the actual ATEM. So I had contemplated getting an HDMI distribution panel where I can just put any input on any output, but I couldn't justify the cost at the time. So this was an easier solution, and like you'll see here, when I show it to you live, you'll see that I do have one of the SRT boxes pumped into input number 3 instead of my rear camera, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let me switch over to the mobile camera, and hopefully this will work. Okay, there we go. Let me switch over to camera 3. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me and see me. So now that rack right there has now been transitioned over to this rack right here. This is a true desktop rack that I actually got from Joe. He was getting rid of it, and he offered it to me, and I appreciate it. So it's the same setup. Everything is exactly as I had just described, but it's just much more compact and not as bulky as that. In fact, there's the actual rack over there that I originally built. And it's an actual wall rack. It's a 9U wall rack, so it wasn't meant to be put on the desk. This one is actually meant to be put on the desk. And then I also added the PK1 mini A10 mini extreme stand again, courtesy of Joe. So he was doing some house cleaning. I do appreciate that. So there's the new look. Again, for me, it's much more streamlined. I hope you guys like it better than the original rack. I do, very much so. One of the things on the rack, I don't know if any of you will notice, but you'll see I have a variety of mounting options. So up here I have rack studs. Here I have the patch box. The silver nuts are the patch box dev mounts, and then some traditional screws and cage nuts. So let me switch back. Let me get out of here real quick and switch back to the actual this camera here. And let me just flip mics. Okay, so I should be back on the big mic now. I really do like the patch box dev mounts. I haven't used them before building this desktop version of the rack, and I really, really do like them a lot. Let me show them to you real quick. Bear with me. There we go. All right, so let's go in here. Oops, here. Let's go patch box, dev mount, and here they are right here. I love these things. They're awesome. The 50 pack for $56. I wish I had an extra one here to show you how easy it is to slip in, but you just take the whole thing. Let me get a better angle of it. You just pop these two in from behind. Now these are for not threaded racks, but cage nut style racks, the 19-inch racks. So you just pop these two threads in from behind, and then you just squeeze on this right here, just squeeze it closed, and it just locks right into place. They hold up to 33 pounds. I really do like them. They were so much easier to handle and manipulate than actual cage nuts. So anyway, I thought I'd throw this out to you. The other thing too, the rack studs are cool too. They also have the rack stud duo now. Let me see if I can bring them up online. Rack stud duo. So the original rack stud, let me just get this out of the way for a second. So the original rack stud looks like this. Let me see if you could see that. So there it is. There's the original rack stud. That's the brown one, or the red one. Now they look like, well, they still have those, but rack stud duo. Oops, not dupe. Duo. All right, so the rack stud duo. Here they are. Is that them? Yeah. So you can see now they're a similar design to the concept of hitting both holes, both studs on one piece instead of two pieces. Believe it or not, they hold up to 44 pounds, whereas the metal dev mounts hold up to 33 pounds. I was actually kind of shocked when I read that. Price-wise, you can see the 50 pack here is $59. So comparable in price, $3 difference. I guess it all depends on where you buy them. But yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Let's see. Andy says, "Hi, sorry, just caught up. Was the DSM version different in the backups?" No. Same. Everything was done on the latest version of DSM 7.1.1 with the generated off the latest version of the DSM agent. So yeah, I'm not sure. Siri's about to get it. All right. Tech for Fun says Rode mic sounds great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was tweaking with it. Tweaking it yesterday because I really wasn't happy with it. It was coming in way too hot and a lot of noise, and so I was tweaking it with the limiter and some of the compressor and stuff like that. So thanks, I appreciate that. DJ Ware says looks great. Thank you. Cage nuts are a thing of the past. I love Rackstars. I haven't tried the Duo yet. Have you? No, I have not, Joe. But I like the look of them, and so yeah, I may. Cage nuts, actually, whenever possible, I like to buy the threaded racks and just use the screws and thread right in. To me, that's just the simplest way to go. But everybody's got their own preference. DJ Ware says, just a thought on the DSM. If the backups are incremental, you may have to start with the first one, then either apply incremental or one at a time if it supports all at once. Shouldn't have to, though. I mean, just a thought. Yeah, if the backups are incremental. You mean apply incremental restores? I don't think that's the intended purpose, but I get it. I get what you're saying. I appreciate that. Thank you. I knew you were going to notice that, Joe. This is a special birthday present for you. Yes, I said it. Happy birthday, Joe. Everybody wish Joe a happy birthday. Okay, so I mean, I think the backups are they happen so quickly. Again, the NAS is pretty much a vanilla NAS, so but in any event, I'll get to the bottom of it and I will report back. So let's see. Let me go back to my phone because that's not all I'm doing with the studio. I'm hoping to do. Let me switch back over once this comes live. Come on, there we go. All right. So let me switch back over to the Rode mic. There we go. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so that was one thing, right? So that was one change, the desktop rack and the adding the PK1 stand for the ATEM, which I kind of, like I said, I really like the way that looks. But then everything in front of me is going away. So up top there, the top camera, the tall one on the stand, not the top-down camera, but that camera there, that's a Canon SL3 that I'm borrowing from a friend. My main camera right here is a Canon SL3, and it's got a Tokina lens on it. That one up there, it just has the regular Canon 10-18 lens on it. I used to have up there a Canon XA50 professional camcorder. I had purchased two of them, and with the intent to possibly, about a year ago I bought them with the intent to possibly break into the live streaming business, live event streaming, but that didn't play out as expected. So I had $4,000 worth of cameras that really weren't being utilized. One was being utilized as my front shot of the studio camera, and the other one was basically just packed in the case, not being used. And I wanted to do some changes, so I ended up fortunately selling those. I didn't get the full amount for them, but I got a decent amount, and I ended up deciding I was going to revamp everything here. So with the money that I spent, or the money that I recouped from selling the XA50s, I repurposed it into buying a Mac Studio, the base level Mac Studio with a RAM upgrade and a hard SSD hard drive upgrade. So all this here is going to go. I have to figure it out once the Mac Studio arrives. It's coming this Friday. But in addition to that, I also got this, and that's a Sony, not a Sony, a Samsung 49-inch gaming monitor. So that is going to go here, across, all the way across like that. So I have to figure out, I'll be eliminating that monitor. I'll be probably have to raise up the main camera a little bit and possibly angle it down. I'm not sure. That iMac is going. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it yet. That monitor and the monitors have to be repositioned because that Samsung is going all the way across. Probably put another monitor up top, higher above it, to use as a second monitor, but I'm not sure. I'll have to figure all that out. I did order, I'm going to take this desk apart. I did order a butcher block, which is 6 feet long by, I needed depth. I needed 39 inches in depth. So I'm going to build something similar to what I did back there, but it's not going to be mounted up against the wall and just supported with the one leg. It's going to be 4 legs, and it'll be regular desk height. I'll just use regular gas piping like I did there, and I'll build the frame for the butcher block, and that'll be my main workstation here. I do want to mention that, again, I know it sounds like an extreme purchase, but money for the Mac Studio, like I said, I just repurposed the money from the Canon XA50s that were just laying around really doing nothing. So I was able to reutilize that money. The money for the Samsung monitor came from, obviously, jobs that I do with Quik Tech Solutions and from channel support, from viewership, from folks like you, either supporting the Amazon affiliate links or, donations to the channel, things like that. So in any event, that's what's happening. Oh, one last thing. Hold on, let me switch back. Let me get that camera back. There we go. I'm hoping to mount that light, that camera, the camera in the back there, and that light there. I'm hoping to mount them across on an auto pole. Again, thank you, Joe, for that auto pole. So I can get the stands, get the legs off the ground. I want to try to get everything up in the air as much as possible. So anyway, I don't know how long of a transition it's going to take me to get to that, but those are some of the upcoming changes that I anticipate happening in the studio. Like I said, the Mac Studio is coming on Friday. Let me just pop up. I'll show you which model I got. Let's go to apple.com. And we'll go to the store. New Mac Studio. Yeah, sure. Whatever, buy. All right. So I went with they have the 2 different flavors, the 10-core and the 20-core CPU, the 24-core GPU, the 48-core GPU, the 16-core neural, and the 32-core neural engine. I went with this model here, starting at the base of $19.99. And the only thing I did with it was I went to it's got the M1 Max chip, but I went from the 24-core GPU to the 32-core GPU. I upped the RAM to 64 gig, and I upped the SSD to 1 terabyte. So yeah, pretty much the money that I recouped, $27.99 is the total. Pretty much the money I recouped selling those 2 professional camcorders paid for this. So I don't feel too bad. If I didn't sell them, I probably would not have done this. Let's put it that way. So, but anyway, so those are some of the changes. Let's go back to the comments and see what's going on. Let me know your thoughts of what's happening or what I'm planning on doing. Oops, sorry about that. And that. So MSX Droid says, happy birthday, Joe. Here we got a bunch of birthday wishes for Joe. Happy birthday, Joe. I'm not singing to you, my friend. Happy birthday from Freddie Ponce. All the best for the new year. Best present I can ask for. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for birthday wishes. Happy birthday. DJ Ware says happy birthday. It was great to see you live, Tony. Thanks for the great info. Have to go. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Freddie, you as well. I appreciate you being here. It was fun having you. You will have it all transitioned by the end of the day Friday, I bet. You moved into your house in only one day, remember? MXS Droid says, got to go. Thank you for this live stream. Until next time, have a great day, evening all. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining. So anyway, still got 13 of you here. So that's really, really cool. Let me see. I talked about the desktop rack. I do want to show you which rack it is, or which one at least I think it is. So give me 1 second. It wasn't expensive. It was like $60. Again, I didn't pay for it. I actually ended up getting it from Joe, but let me switch over to Amazon again. So let's say 19-inch desktop rack. I believe it's this one here, but not a 12U. Here we go. So here's the 8U, which is pretty much exactly what I have. If it's not this particular brand or company, it's exactly very similar to this. So there you go. And that makes just a better situation for on top of the desk. All right. That's it with the comments. I think we're good there. So normally at this point, what I like to do is thank everyone for being here. I do want to acknowledge again the creators that are here. But before we do that, I want to talk about what's upcoming with the channel. Yesterday's video was my 5 top favorite networking tools, time-saving networking tools. I hope you enjoyed that. If you watched it, if you haven't watched it, please go to my channel, check it out, click the link. It's probably a 3 or 4 minute video. It's not long. I would appreciate that. What's upcoming? I still have some Ubiquiti access points in the back there. I have a U6 Pro and a U6. Well, I'm not going to do the U6 Lite. I have a couple of switches back there. I still have the GrandStream 7660 I got to get to. I asked GrandStream for to send me that new desktop Wi-Fi router switch. Was it the 7062, 7064? I don't remember off the top of my head. 7062. So hopefully I'll get that. So I do next week's video. I finally did the video on that street lamp, that solar street lamp. So I installed it in my backyard. So if you want to see all about that and see what I did, and check that video out. It's kind of a fun video. It's a little different for the kind of stuff that I'm doing on the channel, but check it out. I actually had a fun time doing it. And believe it or not, I like the lamp. It works really, really well. So anyway, but that was a long time coming. I think I got that in June, and I just finally got around to, building a pole for it and doing the installation and all that. So, oh yes. Let's see. You should explain what the auto poll is. I will. Thank you, Joe, for that. I do have the specs for the monitor actually ready to go. Believe it or not, I just forgot. Yep, monitor specs, please. Hey, Dennis Pillow, how are you? How you feeling, buddy? Good to have you join. We're almost at the end, Dennis, but if you want to see what we did here today, maybe catch the replay. But we're going to talk about monitor specs. So let me get that pulled up. That was one of the things for sure I did want to show. Yep. All right. Bear with me. I just got to find the link for it. Oops. Let me get that off there. There we go. Now, why are you seeing that? There we go. Bear with me. Bear with me. There we go. All right, let me see if I can bring up Super Source here. Do something a little different. let's do this. There. Okay. So here are the specs on the actual monitor. It's the Samsung C49R G9, 49-inch, 32.9, 120 hertz curved FreeSync HDR VA gaming monitor. It's not a 5K monitor like the Apple Studio, but I just couldn't justify spending $1,600 for a 27-inch monitor. So in looking around and doing some research, I actually bounced some ideas off of Joe because he's excellent with this stuff. AV, audio and video, is his thing. He suggested this monitor for me. Originally, I was looking for two curved monitors, two 27s. I have a 27-inch curved monitor here, 27-inch curved monitor here, and when I sent a couple of specs out to Joe to look at, and I asked for his opinion. He was like, "Well, why not just one big monitor?" And I was like, "Yeah, looking at the price of this versus what it would have cost me for two 27-inch curved 4K monitors, this made a lot of sense." So I opted for it. Here it is. Let's look at the specs a little closer. 49 vertical alignment panel, 1 HDMI 2.0, 2 display ports, 1.4, 3000 to 1 contrast ratio, 5120 by 1440 resolution. Let's go down here. Screen area is 4699 by 1322. In fact, you know what? Let me put the link to this in the chat real quick. Here we go. And there. Now let's go back to, where am I here? There we go. Yeah, but we don't want that. We want, where's that monitor? There we go. Okay. Okay, so back to the specs. So I don't know if all this stuff means anything to a lot of you. The VA LCD panel type curvature is 1800R. Touchscreen, no. We already talked about the resolution. Pixels per inch, 108. The finish is a matte finish. We talked about the contrast ratio. So the refresh rate is 120. So yeah, HDR 10. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, the inputs and outputs, 2 display ports, 1 HDMI 2.0, 2 USB Type A 3.1, and 2 USB Type A 2.0, and 1 3.5 millimeter output. No speakers, and then there's all the environmental and physical. So, and the physical is really, it's why I am actually getting that larger desk. The current desk that I have right now is only 28 inches in depth. And if I were to put that monitor as it currently exists now, if I cleared everything off here and put that monitor up here, it'd be pretty much in my face because of the stand and because of the weight. The stand is pretty large. So I'm opting to get a deeper desk, 39 inches, so that I can keep it at a comfortable viewing distance from me. So yeah. So let's go back to the comments and see if anybody has anything to say on that. But that's the monitor, and it's really not a bad price for what it is. Okay, 5K pixels wide, so sort of 5K. So Joe's saying 5K pixels wide, so sort of 5K. Gotcha. All right, what I'd like to do now is put some of the content creators links who are here, or who were here at least, and acknowledge them in the chat. So DJ Ware. So here's the link to DJ Ware's channel. Check him out. DJ Ware is a Linux guru. Most of the stuff is over my head, but I still enjoy watching and trying to grab bits and pieces, practical IT with Jeremy Lake, another Linux master. Jeremy Lake. There's the link to Jeremy's channel. And let's see, who else? Any other creators here? Practical IT, Jeremy Leak, DJ Ware. Just scrolling down real quick. Michael Burke, Tech for Fun. Feels weird not putting your channel in there, Joe. Check me out. Let me go get Avi's channel. Another great channel. Avi's a great guy. I had a chance to do some, troubleshooting with Avi a few months back, and he's a blast. But Avi runs 2 Facebook user groups. He runs a Synology user group on Facebook and a Ubiquity user group on Facebook. And I don't know how he does it because he works full time. And I think like each of those groups one has 7,000 members and the other one has almost 10,000 members, and he moderates everything. Now, I don't know if he has people helping him with moderating all the posts, but I think that's absolutely amazing. All right, so check me out. I'm trying to look. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Of the YouTubers that I know that I are in my circle. So, all right. Well, it looks like we are approaching an hour and a half. So we've still got 10 of you here, 18 likes. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. But I think that's about all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed the news from the vendors, Ubiquity, Grandstream, Synology with their latest updates. I am really bummed that the DSM bare metal restore failed, and not only failed, but it failed sooner in the process than before. So I'm going to try it again offline. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blow the 920 away one more time and bring it back to, out of the box and reinstall DSM again and try it and see. Maybe, for luck, maybe the second time around it'll work. I don't know. But I'm really bummed that it didn't work for you guys live on the channel, because I was kind of hoping it would, because, Synology is boasting this about the ability to be able to do this. And yet I can imagine there are people out there buying Synologies for this purpose, right? Among others. And, for it not to work is just mind boggling, but I am going to try it again offline and see how I get with it, see where it goes. So, Dennis is saying he will watch the replay. Thank you, Joe. Joe's saying great stream. Let me just bring the comments up real quick. I appreciate that, Dennis. It's a longer stream for me. It's an hour and a half. That's not typical. Thank you, Joe. Happy birthday again, my friend. I hope you're doing something fun later this evening. I can't believe you spent your afternoon with me on your birthday. DJ Ware, thank you, Tony, and worries about the DSM. If things work perfectly, they wouldn't need to support. Well, no, I get that. And I totally get that. I appreciate that. I do like, I'll be honest with you, I do like to try things ahead of time before I make a video, or definitely before I go live. But this was one of those things where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. It hasn't worked yet, as far as like, so maybe now with the update, it'll work. And if it fails, it fails. I'm saying that up front. So, but I appreciate you sticking in there with me, DJ Ware, very much so. So, all right. So with that, I want to thank everybody again for being here. Joe, again, happy birthday. Everyone else, all the creators that were here, thank you for supporting me. I try to do the same in return. Like I say at the end of every video, my name is Tony with Quik Tech Solutions. As always, please stay safe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.